You're listening to The Fool and the Philosopher with Cameron and Connor.
But I think like Lord of the Rings does magic really well. It's you don't know what its limits are. It's very. I think what you can also do, which Brandon Sanderson sort of does, but he can't help himself, and he tells everyone about his magic, is you have a system, but you don't tell anyone about it. But I think even then, that's not good enough.
Yeah.
Because it's basically just physics.
Yeah, well, Tolkien had one rule for magic.
But you can't cast the same spell twice.
Yeah, because the universe can only be bent once.
Yeah. Which I think is decent. Or it's like an atom, right? Like if you look at the atom, its wavelength collapses and you know where it is. And but before then, it could have been anywhere.
Yeah.
Or an electron, sorry. Kind of thing. So, which is sort of the morality line in a way. Like it's this hazy fuzz, and you can collapse the wave point if you look at it, maybe, but you shouldn't, or I don't know.
You shouldn't, because it'll create a black hole.
or you can't collapse it. So I think like reality itself is very fuzzy because electrons can be anywhere.
Yeah.
And everything's just an average.
Oh, actually, fuzzy is a very appropriate word.
Yeah. It's all fuzzy.
Mm-hmm.
And reality is very fuzzy. So I think morals could be fuzzy as well.
Okay.
But and like what were we talking about? Magic from what spells? Yes, because the universe is a song, right?
Yeah.
But once you cast a spell, you define one of the notes.
Yeah.
It could have been, and it's the same notes in a chord, so it's a C. It's a C. But when you cast a spell, you determine if it's C like 1 or C7.
Yeah.
And
how hard it was hit, how softly it's hit.
And once that's defined, then you can't hit that note again because you've already shown it, and which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, you need so. My Golems book that I was talking about last time, I would say doesn't actually have magic in it.
Yeah.
Because it's... And I think that's on purpose because I imagine the Kineser is more like engineers. Oh, I could have called them engineers. I guess I still can. It didn't get published yet. I kind of like Kineser, though.
Yeah.
Mover. I want to popularize it. Yeah. Yeah.
So why you can have, like, instead of necromancers, you have necrokinesers and tarokinesers instead of,
Tarokinesers.
Sorry.
Like tarot cards? Or?
No, what was it? Like Earth Mover.
Oh, like tarot?
Yeah, instead of like an Earth Mage, like an Earthmancer or whatever, you have an Earth Kineser.
Tarokinesics.
Yeah.
Tarokinesics, pyrokinesics. Pyrokinetics is becoming more popular than pyromancy.
Yeah.
But I think
that's because pyromancy is looking to fire and see in the future.
But so is necromancy, is talking to the dead and seeing the future. So I think that like necrokinetics, that sounds kind of fun.
You remind me, Professor Hicks from the Terry Pratchett's books, speaking of the 41 Boat.
Oh, the necromancer?
No, he's not a necromancer. He's the lecturer in post-mortem communications.
Yeah. Yeah, the necromancer.
Yeah. No, he's not a necromancer.
Yeah,
necromancy is illegal.
No, but talking to the dead is necromancy.
Yeah, but necromancy is illegal in Lake Morpork, so he's the professor of post-mortem communication.
But that's what necromancy is.
I know.
Yeah. He definitely knows the meaning of the word.
Yeah, that's his funny
name.
Talking about that one night.
But yeah, so I think Brandon Sanderson's magic doesn't have soul to it. It's physics. Like physics,
cold. It's soulless.
Like physics is really cool. But it's like black holes are amazing and terrifying and beautiful and all that sort of fun stuff. But like, alchemy, man, those were the days. I could be an alchemist. Like you combine like
ethers with
regal water, and like you have like your imagery is like put the sun into the snake which eats its own tail. Like they are metaphors. That's why alchemy is cooler than chemistry. It's the same thing, but they use metaphors.
Yeah.
Because the recipes were right, the alchemists were wrong. So if you say how you create the potion of eternal life is you mix the dragon eating its own table with the sun, and the cock has to be crowing, and the tree of the golden apple must be bent over it. You're like, okay, well, the snake eating its own tail is royal water, which is sulfuric acid. So so I need sulfuric acid. I need the cock growing, which is like nitrogen or something, and the sun is in there, which is gold. So you need gold to contain this, and you need the golden apple, which is probably like sulfur or something. I don't know, because it would be like golden, so it could be fire, which would be like heat, which could be sulfur, or maybe it'd be like, or it could be the other kind of water, strong water. So it could be because like it's a strong tree, maybe. So you mix those together and drink your potion, and you die.
Yeah,
and
so you mix your potion. It's like, your Emperor, the potion to eternal life, and he drinks sulfuric acid.
Yeah. So you're like, okay, that wasn't quite the right recipe. But the thing is, if you found this ancient scroll and like you heard like a rumor, like this scroll with this picture, because they didn't have recipes, they had pictures, right? They're like, this picture is how you make it. And so you're like,
it was written by, what's his name, the immortal.
It was written by Nicholas Flamel himself or something.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, this has got to be right. And so, or someone you trust even more than Nicholas Flamel.
John Dee.
Well, those guys are actually both quite modern. So you'd want some like
Solomon.
Yeah, this is a scroll written by Solomon, right?
Yeah.
So you're like, and so it might not be like the recipe might be wrong, but you're like, this was written by Solomon, so it's got to be right. So then you're like, I did it wrong. So maybe the dragon eating its tail actually represents infinity, which means I need the infinite element, which is like
Mercury.
Gold, because you can never get rid of gold. So instead of it being royal water, it was gold. But then if it's gold, then what does the sun mean? Well, the sun is hot, so maybe it actually meant sulfur. But then the golden apple instead could be like just a strong thing, so it could be like steel. And so alchemy was all metaphors and like trying to figure out the recipes.
So the alchemists were always wrong.
Like, how cool is that? Like a picture is a recipe, and you could like look, this is like a video game, right? Where you go, like, there's like this adventurer comes and he says, I went to this abandoned tower in the middle of a desert, because he was in a tower in China somewhere, right? I found this ancient box. I broke it open and there was traps, because the Chinese emperors had their traps and whatnot. So or just like maybe a tradesman. It's like these needles sunken in wax, so that when I turned the key, the needles would pop out of the wax and stab me, because it was hidden with the wax, and the wax was poisonous, so it would coat the needles as they came through. But I carefully disarmed the trap and opened the box, and inside I found these scrolls that crumbled to dust in my hand. And so the next one I was careful, and the corner came away, and I copied it painstakingly onto this piece of paper. And this is a recipe for Solomon himself. Can you, wise alchemist, figure it out? And so the alchemist and his apprentice pour over it for years to try to come up with a recipe. And they discover it's a real recipe on how to make like
gunpowder,
or like fertilizer, or like tin, or I mean bronze, not tin, or like aluminum or something. Like
how to make steel.
Yeah. And they just have to like study this picture. Like, that was the world. How cool is that? I mean, it probably wasn't quite like that, but that could work. That's real. And that's metaphor. And that is magic. Even though that was physics, that's magic, because it's metaphor. So I guess you can actually have a very strict law thing as long as it works in metaphors somehow. I don't know. I miss those days.
I miss the good old days. Mercury poisoning.
Like, can you imagine? Be the best. I mean, it would be horrible.
Well, that's why you want the power to teleport toilets to you.
The past sucks. No, I wouldn't care about that. It would be like the rampant disease.
What if you could teleport a whole bathroom to you?
And like, it'd be like the rampant disease
with a
horrible like.
Well, it's actually interesting.
Morals, constant war, dangerous animals, bandits, like petty political maneuverings, getting stabbed in the back.
This is interesting, Cameron. If you travel back in time, right?
Yeah.
You would probably be immune to most diseases. However, you would be a
living God.
No, you would be a destructive force, because the diseases you have are way more evolved and nasty than the diseases people have in the past. So you would be this walking plague machine, immune to all other disease, killing everyone you came into contact with.
Imagine the power.
Like, time traveling into past danger. Actually,
XKCD had a comic where it said, the past is a different country. And then the other guy said, with weaker military and larger oil reserves.
But you used up the oil then, and you don't have it now. Like, just,
Going back in time, man. What?
why do we have time machines?
No, I don't know. Time machines. You a fan of time travel?
I don't want to do it. I think it's too messy.
I don't think it has to be.
I don't. Right. Once. If time travel happens.
Yeah.
And we can notice it.
Like, this is the biggest misassumption people make about time travel, right? Is the idea that you can go back. Like, how on earth would you be able to go back? Because you're already there.
Yeah.
There's always gonna be two of you.
Yes.
Like, the moment you time travel, you've duplicated yourself.
Yeah, until you unduplicate yourself.
No, you can't, though. Unless you kill yourself. Because, like, you existed in every period in time. Like, all of them. Like, when do you come back when you're not there?
Well, so you travel back in time.
Yeah.
And so, like, the time's going along, right?
Yeah.
So you travel back in time. So then you travel back to the future, like, a week after you left.
Yeah. And
so the week in between, you didn't exist there.
Right.
And so then there's just one of you. So
I guess.
you're sort of like jumping about. Like, you're like, if you like draw a line.
No, I see what you're getting at, yeah.
And then you go, whoop! And then you go back. Then you go, whoop! And you keep going.
Except, it's more like, well, we can't show this.
Yeah.
But the problem is that you...
That's why I said you're drawing a line. You're jumping.
The you that was young also goes to here and then comes back. So you have an infinite loop here with a line coming out of it.
Yeah.
Which...
Yeah, that's fine.
Which means that... But that means that you keep teleporting to this point in the future.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
Yeah.
I don't know. I think... Well, I guess that kind of works, though.
Yeah.
But if you came back, like, earlier, you would also age weirdly. Like, you'd die really young if you were a time traveler.
Maybe.
Because, like, you'd be born, and then, like, 10 years later you'd die because you'd kept time traveling, having adventures, and aging off elsewhere.
Yeah, well, that's why Doctor Who reincarnates.
I think he's immortal, though.
Yeah.
Anyways. Yeah, that's...
Something, eh?
I don't think time travel... But that's not messy. That's fairly clean, actually.
Yeah.
There. I think time travel could be fine.
Yeah.
But, well, I guess my thought is, you can't go back to here because you've changed the future. So you never went back in time.
It was always changed. It's always been like that.
Why can't... But you can change... There's no reason why you can't change the future. Like,
No, it's always been like
but
that.
remember, life is a slice of bread, right? And so if the raisin goes back in the bread and, like, pushes some raisins around, the bread has actually moved, but it doesn't break anything. That's my raisin bread theory of the universe. Where
Right.
You just move sideways in the bread.
I think here's a good spot to stop.
You gotta climb the infinite stair, man. You gotta get the raisin bread. There's raisin bread. The
thank you
people are
for
fighting us from the raisin bread. They're
listening,
coming for me. They're taking me away.
Bye.